Well, hello there, folks, and welcome to the studio. Now, hopefully, you can hear me okay. My name is Matthew Palmer. The rain out there, if I could turn these cameras around and show you, the rain out there is amazing. It is absolutely throwing it down, which is good. You can't beat a good storm after such a long, hot summer. But welcome to this live watercolour paint along. Yes, we are live here from wet and windy Derbyshire here in the UK, only a few miles away from the Peak District here as well. So a beautiful place to have a painting studio, and I'm very lucky that I get to paint with you guys on a weekly basis through workshops, through websites, etc. So excuse me, hopefully you're going to enjoy this. This is going to be something really good. Now, if you're new to my YouTube channel, welcome to this. Now, my YouTube channel has been around for quite some time. We've just reached, and a big thank you, a big shout out to everybody, a big thank you to everybody that has subscribed to my channel over the years. We've just topped the 75,000 subscribers mark as of the first week of October 2022. So a big thank you. If you are new to the channel, of course, do make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell, because that really makes all the difference. It lets YouTube know that people want to watch. And also give us a thumbs up. We've got about 100 people watching live, but only 8 likes. So let's get those likes on there as well. And then we're just about ready to get started on this watercolour painting. Now, as well as doing some watercolour painting with you, we're also going to be talking about the live workshop, the live virtual watercolour workshop that's coming up this weekend. It's coming up on the 9th. So I'll pop this just at the bottom of the screen. I'll leave it there to remind you that it's happening. And you can see what we're doing. It's there, actually. It's the heron. We're going to be painting in a beautiful heron perched amongst bulrushes by a river. That is the workshop that's happening as of the 9th of October 2022. But there's pretty much one taking place every Sunday. Pretty much. Have a look on the website, allthews.watercolour.tv. These workshops are £10. You can watch them live or at any time afterwards. They are yours to enjoy forever. They are. So do make sure you're heading over to this website here and check those out. Now let's move over to the palette and take a look at the materials for today's project. So we have a piece of watercolour paper. In fact, if you look here, I've got a sheet of watercolour paper stuck to a board. This is a 1/4 imperial in size, but size really doesn't matter. Okay, any sheet of watercolour paper stuck to a board with some masking tape would be absolutely perfect for what we want today. Kitchen paper is going to be useful as well, so do get both of those things there. Just over here we have 2 water pots. You can just see them on the edge of the screen. The materials, I've got some natural blue. These are my own brand of watercolours. If you haven't got natural blue, you might have French ultramarine. I've got some natural yellow light, or you might have cadmium yellow. So I'm just using 3 primary colours. I've got some natural red, or you might have alizarin crimson. Those are the 3 primary colours. As far as the brushes for this, 3 brushes is always the essential. And I'm very lucky that I've got my own range of these. Here we've got these Matthew Palmer Super Point brushes. These are absolute game changers of brushes. These are beautiful. Very pointy brushes, folks. And everything that we see here, of course, is available to purchase online. Should you wish to get hold of them, of course, you can pick them up on the website, allthews.watercolour.tv. But it's basically a size 20 brush. We've got a size 10 brush, which is a medium super point. It's just a very pointy brush, and then we've got a size 6. Those 3 brushes will be great for this tutorial today. Or if you've got the new Matthew Palmer Sky and Cloud brushes, large and small, they would also work quite well for this project as well. If you haven't got these, it's just worth me quickly mentioning that you can pick these up as of the 13th of, the 7th of October 2022 for a wonderful price of $13.99. That price will be going up very soon, literally within a couple of days, so do make sure you pick those up if you've not had a chance already, and you get a free video on how to use them as well. That's the Sky and Cloud brushes. Do look back on the old channel. There's loads of content, including a tutorial on how to use these wonderful Sky and Cloud brushes, which you can see right here. They are beautiful, beautiful brushes. Check them out. But that's it for materials wise. We've got the kitchen paper as well ready for action. And the great thing is, we're just going to paint this with a blank piece of paper. And I want to do a bit of a wintry scene because it's coming up to the winter. People start thinking about Christmas cards, that kind of thing, and that's what I'm thinking about here. So grab yourself a bit of masking tape here. We'll start painting. As soon as we start painting, we'll say 30 minutes, okay? We'll say 30 minutes, okay? So let's just take a bit of masking tape, remove the stickiness. Make sure it's long enough to go across your picture. Remove the stickiness a few times. Wipe the moisture from the brow and rub it over the tape elegantly. And then what we'll do is we'll work about 1/3 up the page, okay? So let's use his fingers to gauge that third. We'll say 1, 2, 3. That's about right. So you're looking at probably 4 inches, something like that. And we'll stick that tape 1/3 of the way up, basically. And then we'll use our fingers and we will curve this. Have as many goes as this as you like. Curve it down. And then when you get to about 2/3 across from the left, that's when you can change direction and you can crease the tape and you can do this. Now that's the first thing to do. Get this curvy line 1/3 up here. It drops down to about 1/4. That's going to give us a landscape, and here we can do some background with it. So get yourself in that position first, ready for action. That's where you want to be. And then we'll be ready to get some paint on. Once you've done that, let's take a quick time check. It's almost 2:45 live time here. So 30 minutes from now, we'll have a picture. Now, if you're working along, remember at any time you can pause the video and skip it back. We are currently live here, but of course watching it back afterwards, you can simply skip it back at any time. Okay, let's go from this to this, and what we'll do is we will work a few colours in the palette first. The first thing you want to do is take your big brush. It's also worth having a plastic card as well. Have you got a plastic card hanging around, some kind of credit card or something, just some kind of old sort of store card or something like that? Grab that as well. I'll give you a little bit of time to do that, and then we will be all ready for action, won't we? Yes, we will. So this is just a key card from a hotel, actually. I'm sure you're supposed to return these, aren't you? Pop that to one side. Okay, water here. So I'm treating this as though it's for beginners. It's for complete beginners, this tutorial. So it's as though you've never done it before and you're here to learn something new. So what we'll do is we'll clean the brush. You can just see the water pot at the top of the screen there. Wipe off the excess water. Wipe off the excess water on the side. And then there's no water in this palette, just a little bit of water from that brush. And the first thing I want to do is I want to mix up an orange. So I'm going to take some yellow, mix it into the water and pop the red with it. So mix yourself an orange, quite a deep orange here. So I'm just using primary colours. And that's the case for those weekend workshops as well. All they do is use these 3 brushes. There's an orange. We'll clean the brush again. And we'll mix up a deeper version of the same colour. So there's no water, just water on the brush, a stronger version, a much deeper, heavier version of the same colour. So really quite thick. And there's nothing stopping you taking more yellow here, because this colour wants to be, I'm trying to put it across, that this wants to be very thick, very deep colour. So a nice, rich, heavy yellow is what it's all about there. Deep yellow and plenty of red. Look at that. So it's pretty much 2 colours. Notice what I'm doing here, by the way, is wiping away the excess on the side. Those 2 colours are pretty much exactly the same, but this one here is just slightly heavier than this one. This is a paler version of that. Both with a big brush. Clean the brush again. When you clean your brush, can you see I'm stirring it? Stir it, stir it. Stir the brush and wipe off that excess on the side. Now, I've got 2 water pots. It's good to have 2 water pots. You can just see one here just at the top of the screen, just loitering. Second colour is going to be blue, quite heavy, with red. So mix, look at that beautiful purple, beautiful. We've got purple, we've got a strong orange, and we've got a more diluted orange, more water, less water. Clean the brush again. So a nice kind of bluey purple colour. Clean that brush, really give it a good old rinse around in the old water there. Look at that stirring. So that's your colours. You can just kind of match them to what's on your screen. But this one here is quite thick, so just bear that in mind. It's also worth saying as well, floating around in the background is a size 10 brush. So you've got two brushes. You've got the large one, which is a 20, and this one here, which is the size 10. But these are the super points, which means you can do a lot more with them. That is just hanging around at the side here. I'll pop it over there. And then I want to move over to the clean water. So we'll switch the water over. Rinse the brush out. Make sure it's clean. Just a slight wipe on the side there. And then basically we're ready to go. What we'll do, so work with me in real time. Remember, at any time you can pause the video. Let's put the water on. And the water is going to go all the way down to this masking tape line. So do make sure you've stuck it down well. Run your finger over it. No sketching. Random hair, if that appears, leave it to disappear in the wind. Doesn't matter about that. Just get the water on. Have as many goes as you like at this. Just practice the sky. Now that's a single coat of water. If I give this a wobble, you can see there's quite a bit of dry patches. You want at least 2 coats of water here, folks. 2 coats. 2 coats of water. Just stick it outside in the rain, it'll soon get. But I'm just working down to the tape. Doesn't matter which direction you do this, but as long as you cover it down to the tape and you've had 2 good coats of water, and have a moment. We all have moments. Have a moment to look for dry patches. I'm wobbling it. There's no dry patches there. So I'm now over to this. No more water is required. Straight into this pale orange. Load the brush up. Useful tip here is to move on to the kitchen paper and give it a quick tap. From there to there. That's always a useful bit of advice. Kitchen paper at hand. And then start at the bottom. I am right-handed, so I'm going this way, but you might want to go that way from the tape. Beautiful. Just go for it. Don't be afraid of this. Just let the orange paint forward, back. Notice I'm using the whole brush. Bring it in. Right down to masking. Right down to masking tape, son. Get it right down to masking tape. Don't be afraid of it. Just go all the way down to it. But notice those brush strokes, those sort of diagonal lines. Beautiful, simple wash of colour. Nice. Looks a mess. But we're carrying on. Straight back to the palette. Straight into this colour. No need to clean your brush. Straight into purple, son. Get that scent in that purple. Beautiful. Again, colour. Single tap. Over to the picture. Beautiful. Right across the top. Look at that. Oh. Oh. Got goosebumps and everything. It's going to eat it up. Bring it down. Cross the brush. Notice the brush is flat. Beautiful. Bit of drama. Look at that. Keep it going. Cross it. Look how it's blending. Graduated wash. So give it a tilt up. Don't be afraid. Be terrified. Bring it in. Let the paint mix. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful sky. Simple, easygoing watercolour sky. Can't go wrong, can you? You really can't go wrong. Now, if you've done this and you think, you know what, that's a little bit pale for me. I want to be a bit darker. Straight into the blue. Get that sand into blue, lad. We can mix the blue. So it's, look at that, that's juicy. Is it, Mare? Is it juicy? Bring it in. So I've made the colour thicker but made it more blue. Back to picture. Just at the top. Bring some, look at that, that colour's proper thick. Proper job. But you can be a bit more streaky. Look how it makes the sky. Just a nice, delicate streak. Let's get your smart speaker working. Having classical music to paint with works a treat. Alexa, play some classical music. I like that. I like it. I'm going to leave that. What I'm going to do here, folks, is put that big brush away. Pick up the smaller brush. Stay with me. Stay with me. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I've got the old size 10 brush, or the super point here. I've cleaned it, but this time I'm removing the excess water. I'm using this thick orange. Now, if yours is too runny, make it thicker. But honestly, you can remix it now, but thick yellow, thick red, beautiful, beautiful bit of fiery autumnal colours. Look at that. See it? Beautiful. Very, very deep colour. This is the smaller brush. Take the kitchen paper, give it a couple of quick taps. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to work a little bit closer to the bottom of the picture here. So if we come back to this, we can see we're a bit closer in. And just here, we're going to put this brush, we're going to twist the brushes. Let me get closer in for you. You can smell the fear. Twist autumnal trees. Move across, roll the brush across. Look at that gorgeous fiery red. Lovely colour that, actually. Misty out of focus trees. Now the picture works without this, but the brush was literally flat to your paper. If I do it here against the wet paper, it spreads just like that. Let's put some blue in that colour. Just add blue to the colour. Add quite a lot of blue. Look how it goes brown, almost grey. Can you see that? You've darkened it. You've not cleaned your brush. You've just added blue to it. Don't forget the tissue. Couple of taps. Back to this sun. What we'll do now is we'll twist in some darkness. Now feel free. Last time I said put your brush flat to your paper like this and twist. This time, once the colour's on, I'm doing it more like that. Now what I'm doing, if I show you the side of my hand here, so the first time, well it tickles, oh matron, it was tickles like this one. Now it's just a little bit, it's using that part, come on camera, focus, I'm using that part of the brush, stroke your brush, twist it. Work up the side of these trees, get that darkness in. Can you see? It's a very thick mixture. I've got to say, it's really important to be thick with this paint. Pick it up, couple of taps on tissue, sir. And then, it's not the tip, it's the side. Fiery autumnal trees, beautiful. But the paper's still damp. Now, if this doesn't work out for you first time, it's an half-an-hour project. It's nearly 10 minutes in. Bloody hell, Palmer. I best get cracking. So I'm just doing a little twists. Beautiful, beautiful. Make sure you get some plenty of dark at that bottom. You see how dark it is, juicy and dark down there. Feel free to use the tip of your brush and put a few spots on. I mean, I'm talking late autumn. Late autumn, you know, early winter kind of thing. Bit of snowfall. Nice misty trees. Now, if you've got any hard lines that you don't like, what you can do, very simply, clean your brush exceptionally well. You can see me doing that on screen. Get some kitchen paper, squeeze it. Squeeze the brush flat and have a look at what you've got and think, well, that's a bit harsh. I'll do a bit of blending on the edge. I'll soften that. I'll blend this. I'll fiddle with that. So you can tweak it. Now, I mentioned having a plastic card. It's optional, but if you've got one, have a little go. I'll zoom in a bit closer for you. Have a little go at this. And what you can actually do is you can use the corner flat, not like that, doesn't work. And you can scrape off. Now, if this doesn't work for you, it's probably because it's too wet or too dry. And every time I wipe a bit of colour away, it gathers just here. So I'm using my fingers to get shot of it. Now, if you want to be posh, you can actually use a palette knife for this. A what? If you notice, I'm getting a combination of light branches and dark branches. So light branches is where the paint is 90% dry but damp enough to come off. Dark branches is where paint is wet. So it's a combination of both. Look at these little spots in the sky. See them little dots here that look like a bit of snow? You know what they are? It's a bit of spit. I'm not saying you need to spit on your picture. That's just wrong. Don't do it. It's filth. Filth. The secret is in the strength in colour here. The stronger the colour, no spitting. What's that old sign you used to get at railway stations? No spitting. To prevent the spread of consumption or something. I don't know. It's like an old Victorian English British rail sign. I don't know. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere around. But just look how you can gently scrape away some trees. It's just beautiful. I mean, here on my picture it's more misty, but I'm just going to pop that in there and have a little bit of a scrape. That's lovely. That's lovely. Now I'm just going to come back with camera. You can see the sky's pretty. Look at that. Lovely sky. Love that powerful, dramatic sky. That's beautiful. Now we're going to stop the clock right there. That's about 13 minutes in. We're going to stop the clock right there. It's like Treasure Hunt. Who remembers Treasure Hunt? Annika Rice. I'm sure my dad used to enjoy watching that, to watch Annika Rice run around in a jumpsuit. If I'm honest with you, so did I, to be honest. Treasure Hunt. Wincy Willis and Kenneth Williams. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, Google it. We'll stop the clock and we'll give that a few moments to dry, folks. I have actually got a hairdryer over there, but while it's drying off, let me tell you about watercolour workshops. We've got one coming up. Actually, what I can do, I can show you this. There's one taking place on Sunday. Today, we're working very quickly, very speedy on this project. You can see here, it's a quick 30-minute watercolour project using 3 colours. These full day courses that we're talking about, there's one at the bottom of the screen here. There's one pretty much every weekend. So if you're watching this after the 9th of October 2022, don't worry, because there's always one happening. The one that's taking place this Sunday is on the 9th of October. And it's Paint a Majestic Heron perched amongst bulrushes by a beautiful river. Do check it out. What we have here is a collection of paintings that I've done of animals. I will show you some of these actually. So these have all been done using 3 colours and 3 brushes, which is what we do on these virtual classes. So these are all taught live to the comfort of your own home virtually. What we've got here is a swan, of course, on a lake. Beautiful goldfinch right there on blossom. All broken down, all using 3 colours and those 3 brushes, just like today, but just a full day course. Of course, the barn owl by moonlight. Fantastic robin on holly. That's, of course, the English robin. We've got the snowy owl, one of my favourites. I love that picture. Peacock. And then we've got the 3 penguins in the Antarctic. Uh-oh. We have problems coming through. We've got one of those wonderful people that likes to cause chaos. Let me get rid of those. There we are. All gone. There's always someone tries to destroy your fun. Is it trolls you call them? I think you call them trolls, don't you? And then here we've got a kingfisher by a river. So the one that we're doing this weekend is a heron by a river. So do have a think about it, folks. Again, it uses just the very basic materials, your 3 brushes and your 3 colours for £10. It's really good fun, folks. And you've had a taster today. You've had that little bit of a taster. You can see exactly what you've got here. It's more relaxed, more steady. We're not rushing through it. This is almost dry, but not quite. So let me show you how you'd book this workshop. If you go to the website, all the W's, .watercolour.tv. There's links in the description for the workshop basically, but just go to the website and at the top of the screen you'll see a button. You can see it flashing in top right of your screen, and that's the link you click on to book the workshop. It's literally £10. You can take place from anywhere in the world. You can change your currency, of course, to dollars if you want to. It's around about $11.50, 16 Canadian dollars, 16 Australian dollars, 11 euros, that kind of thing. And it is basically, it's going to be painting a heron. It's going to be lovely, folks. It's broken down for beginners. Do have a think about coming along. And one of the really cool things about these workshops is it's broadcast live into your home, live to your living room, live to your iPads, your computers, and it's beautiful high definition. It's a great way to work, folks. And the great thing about them is you can watch them live or at any time after. Once you purchase them, they are yours to keep. It's like one-on-one tuition because all you see is me, and there's even £100 art materials that I'll be giving away during the broadcast as well. So that's how you'd book on, folks. And the really cool thing as well is we've done 115 of these workshops, and if you go to the workshop tab, come down to previous workshops, you can see it here on the screen. You can look back at the entire 115 workshops in their entirety, and you can actually buy any of them. This was the one we did last week. It was this beautiful autumnal Scottish landscape, all using 3 colours, 3 brushes. Beautiful, beautiful high definition, folks. Really good way of working. I can't sort of stress enough how much of a nice thing it is to do. I've done some beautiful projects over the past 2.5 to 3 years, including, you know, things like this bumblebee. So there you go. Have a think about it, folks. For 10 quid, what can you get for 10 quid in this world? Well, very little, but you can get a Matthew Palmer workshop. This is dry enough to move on now. But a big shout out to Kathy Lunn. Kathy, I want to say thank you and send you a hug back for sending me the £1.99 Super Chat donation. If people donate via Super Chat, it goes back into the running of the channel. We've got 75,000 subscribers. Let's try and get that up to 100,000. Come on, hit that subscribe button, hit that subscription bell as well to get the notifications. But a big shout out to Kathy Lunn. Super Chat is a way of you donating to the channel. That means a lot. Thank you. Okay, so colours are fine here. Masking tape very gently gets removed at this point. Nice and steady. Take your time. Nice and steady. Nice and steady. Take your time. Just a steady peel. Steady peel. Watch the back of the tape for any white. That comes off, leaving a crisp edge. Remove the masking tape. What's a good starting point? A few questions I've noticed coming through in the chat. We've not started the clock yet, by the way. We'll start it in a second. We'll have 15 minutes to do the bottom of the picture. A good starting point is those Super Point brushes. You can buy them on the website here, but we've also got the Sky and Cloud brushes on really good offer at the minute. As of October 2022, you can get them at a really good price of $13.99. 3 primary colours, the red, yellow, blue, and 3 Super Point brushes and a pack of paper, and you're away. It's all you need. Nice and easy, really. Okay, we're going to be using the size 20 brush. In fact, no, I'll tell you what, size 10. Size 10. Nice and clean. That's the purple that we used in the sky. Dilute it down. Add water. Now, if you've run out of that colour, it's just blue and red. But it is much paler. You can see that it's much more liquid now, yeah? Little wipe on the side. We're working against the dry paper. The kitchen paper is still at hand should we need it. We'll start the clock going now. Yeah, so let's say 15 minutes. 15 minutes and we'll have a picture. Now, as far as palettes are concerned, you can use a plate, a porcelain plate, even paper plates, but something like this. This is my own designer palette. It's called the Matthew Palmer Easy Clean Palette. And a bit of masking tape and a board is useful to stick it to as well. Let's work on the bottom. We'll get close in and we'll paint in a bit of a footpath. Now, let me do it first, and then you can do it. Follow the tape edge. Where it changes direction, notice the seepage, that's fine. Where it changes direction, zigzag. A loaded brush, no tissue was used in the making of this footpath. very quickly into the water. Just wipe it on the side, no tissue. Water goes here. Get that water moving that colour. Look how I'm moving it across. Fetch the colour. Can you see I'm fetching it from here? Fetch it from there and shift it over to that side. Take it all the way across. Move it. Almost horizontal wipes. Refresh the brush. Clean it again. This time we'll give it a couple of taps on tissue. Literally just use water. Move it. So it's blended and create a graduated wash. Now, with the damp brush, just run your brush up into the hillside. Follow this angle that you've created. Follow the angle. Have a go yourself. I'll stop there, folks. Have a go yourself. All I'm doing is dragging these lines up here. There's nothing stopping you taking a bit of extra water. You can hear the water sloshing around. Couple of taps on tissue. And making these spiky lines become one with your picture. But can you see I'm dragging the lines up? It softens the edge, loosens it, sir. Loosen it, sir. Ooh. It's getting a bit, you know, there you go. But anyway, I'll stop there, folks, and I'll let you do that. Have a go. I'll talk you through it. So what you do is you use that very pale colour here, this purple. It's not strong. So make sure you dilute it. If you're painting with somebody else, test your colour on your neighbour's picture first. Yeah, that works. And then move on to here with a loaded brush, no tissue to remove paint or anything here, and just follow the hillside and zigzag like this. Let me show you. Come down. I'm painting on my table. Zigzag. Water. Clean your brush well. 2 taps. And then just... And there you go. Now listen, James Burnop is a regular viewer. Thank you, James, for being a regular supporter and viewer. And James, of course, takes part in these. A bit of Derbyshire. He takes part. It's rare good. Takes part in the virtual classes. But James has just donated £5 of his well-earned money for Super Chat. James, you're a legend. Thank you so much for the £5 Super Chat. And March Ann as well says, keep it up. We are keeping it up. March has donated $5. Thank you so much, March. Thank you for everyone that's ever done a Super Chat. If you want to show your support, you can do that. Or you can actually book into a workshop. It's the same. You can do that for me. That makes a lot of difference. Thank you so much, March. Again, March Ann is a regular viewer of the weekend live virtual Watercolour workshops with Matthew Palmer. For a tenner, $12 US, $16 Canadian. It's a great way to get the paint flowing. Can't go wrong. Now, if your blending wasn't as smooth as this, you can go back into the water again at any time. 2 taps on tissue, boom, boom, and then you can give it a bit of blend on the edge. Bit of blend. Now, I also do in-person workshops. These take place few and far between. The next one is in November, and that one is at Guildford, which is in Surrey, which is near London. And then there's one taking place in December, and that is in Southam, Warwickshire, which is kind of the middle of the country, not too far from Birmingham. Sorry, my accent's terrible. So make sure this colour's nice and pale. Back to this. But these virtual classes take place pretty much every single weekend. Now, once you've done this and you've dragged the lines up, if the lines look very spiky, clean the brush again on the tissue and soften it. Let's put a bit more shadow in here. Exactly the same brush. Get close in, we can do that. Over here, we're going to use the same colour, the purple. If you run out of it, it's water. So water's in the palette here. Blue. Bit of red, plenty of water. Nice, and look at that sloppy colour, like a Sloppy Joe. Tracy says any workshops in Derbyshire. Well, actually, yes, on the Derbyshire border. So if you live local to Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, Tracy, I do a in-person workshop at a place called Warsop, which is near Mansfield. Actually, it's kind of Nottingham, Derbyshire. And the next one is in March. Again, head on over to this website here and click on the in-person workshops tab at the top of the screen. You can see all the dates coming up next year. But virtual ones take place every single weekend. They're a wonderful, wonderful way. They become the norm. They become the norm. So that's exactly the same colour. Again, 2 taps on tissue is good here. No more, just 2 taps. What? Paint, 2 taps. That's got the right amount of paint on. Size 10 brush. What we'll do is we're going to paint just below the edge. So leave a gap. Let's come closer in. Leave a gap. Follow it down, but make it smaller. Notice that follows the curve. Clean brush. Really clean brush. I mean, seriously, you've got to clean that brush, folks. How many taps on tissue? Let me know in the comments. 2 taps. You've got the water on the brush. And then use that water to spread that colour carefully, not overlapping your sky. Move it down. Move it down. Look at that. Follow the curve. Follow the curve. Water again, should you need to. 2 taps on tissue. And smooth the colour. As smooth as ketchup from a bottle. What? So a nice smooth blend. Water, 2 taps. As much as you need to here. Blend it. Fabulous. And then just make sure, have a look at it, make sure it's a smooth blend. So feel free to, you know, keep dunking in the water. 2 taps, 2 good firm taps. Nice. Now, very shortly, we're going to pop a little bit more detail in this, and what you'll need for that is some kind of a straight edge. Here, I have a plastic card, so that's going to come in handy again, but that needs a second to dry. I'm going to leave it to dry. So we'll stop the clock again. We've got probably just under 10 minutes left, so what we'll do is we'll stop the clock, folks, and while that is drying off and doing its thing, let me just show you a little bit of an advertisement that talks about these virtual classes so you know the kind of quality of teaching that you're going to get. Check this out. Well, I think we are dry enough to move on here. I mean, feel free to use a hairdryer at this point should you want to. But now we need to add some detail to this landscape area, make it look a little bit more, you know, as though there's things happening in the picture. So what we're going to do here for the next kind of 8 to 9 minutes is think about detail. We'll start off with the size 10 brush, and we want to be mixing a strong dark colour here. So what we'll do is we'll have no, in fact we'll use the brown area, we'll use that. We'll take a good thick blob of blue and we'll put a lot of red in that blue to make it go a very rich purple. You can see it's a very deep purple. Stick some thick yellow into it. So you get a very strong colour. I mean, that colour is proper deep. It's a really strong colour here. It's thick. It's got a bit of water with it. It's a grey brown. Stipple your brush. Now take the colour out and do it at the side. Make your brush go a little bit spiky. Squash it in it. Use that card as well, and we'll add a bit of foliage, a bit of earth, a bit of texture. Let's get close in. Have some fun. Make sure this card's dry. And what we'll do is we'll actually pop this in a few places. So I'm using this spiky edge here. Have a practice. I mean, even use your, like I'm doing, use your board to get your brush all spiky. If anyone's got my tree and texture brushes, obviously use them for this. But basically I'm using the card here to stipple in some little bits of foliage. Remove that. Look at that. Beautiful. Now what we'll do is we'll add some more work to this. Wipe off the colour, because it's going to creep down the back. It's inevitable, that. And you can add as much as this as you like. You can put some on the edge of the footpath if you want. But nice and strong for your paint. Just use the tips of those spiky tips. Let's get closer in for you. So I'm doing smaller ones. Quite effective, isn't it? Now I'll pop that brush away. I want to grab the smaller brush, which is actually this one. It's the size 6 brush, or a small super point. We've not used this one yet, but I want to take the same strong colour, make sure it's nice and thick again. I'm just putting more blue to thicken it up. Remove the excess a couple of times, 3 times, 4 times. Remove it 4 times. So you've got what you call the dry brush. And take your fingers like this and actually get your fingers into the bristles. Can you see how it goes a bit spiky? Like that. Have a practice. There's no rush. What we'll do is we'll use these spiky bristles. Now, bear in mind that you've removed the majority of the colour. The sun's out now, by the way, after all that rain. Weird. And we'll scuff the edge of the footpath and below those little bits of foliage. So notice that there's almost nothing on the brush. Keep getting those fingers into your bristles. This is what we call the dry brush. I've actually got a brush we're working on that's going to do this job for you. But you can see how you can sort of make these look much more natural. Work into those edges. We've got about 5 minutes left on this. Work around the edge. Go right up to the tip of the footpath. And even at the base of those trees. Look at the diagonal lines. Use the spiky brush. Because remember, if that brush has gone into a fan shape, you can use it either skinny or wide. I'm using it to put some shadows in from your trees. Work up the hillside a little bit. Give it some texture. Brush it right across. Bring it right across. Right over here. Look how I'm basically taking the brush and really spiking it over. Bring it right over. Almost horizontal, but look at the texture. Look at the gorgeous texture. This can run down the edge of the hillside, the banking as well. What it does, it sort of takes the blandness away from it, which is really cool. So it sort of takes away any blandness, and you can, if you've got any seepage down the back of your tape, which does happen, it's inevitable, then you can ease it in. You can hide it behind this sort of texture. Now I'm just going to sneak back to the other brush here. Same colour. Stipple it. Now if you're thinking this is going to damage your brush, it's not great for your brushes. That's why we have Matthew Palmer tree and texture brushes available, which is that brush ready for you. But really hot water carefully used boiling water will bring life back to brushes. Now what we're doing here is in this bottom corner, make sure your brush is really spiky. We're going to do another one of these. We're going to fill it in. Granville, cheek off. Granville there. If you're not sure what I'm on about, Google it. Make it a little bit higher. Open all hours we are. Bring it up. Now, if you've still got some of that orange from earlier, chuck some of that in. Now, if it goes too blobby, remove the excess on kitchen paper. Nice. Now, what I'm going to do here, folks, is add some detail to this area. If your brush is fine enough, as in if it is pointy enough, like this number 6 one is here. I mean, this is a super point. You can see why it's called that, can't you? Or you might want to bring in a fourth brush, something like a branching detail or a rigger brush, okay? But I'm happy with a super point, using the same strong colour. You can always add a bit more blue to make it deeper, but exactly the same colour here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the paint up, okay? Rotate the brush through the fingers as you draw it across the kitchen paper. So you've actually got, look at that beautiful point. It's done two things there. It's removed the excess. Just want to put some branches in, little twigs. Use the tip of the brush, hold the brush. Like a pencil. Just to add a little bit of detail. Now again, if you struggle to do the fine lines, a little bit of a rotation on the tissue does help. Just little branches. And my advice to you is pop some little spots on the tops of these. So it looks like a dried up cow parsley skeleton that you get. You could do teasels as well if you wanted to. They're always effective. But little sort of bits of branches just coming out of this foreground. Again, rotate it. It's quite tricky on the end of the picture, but notice that I'm actually resting on my paper when I'm doing this and doing little spots. Now, if you've still got your plastic card handy, you could even just pop some little bits of little flicks in there as well. It does help. Into the sky, we need some birds, some buzzards. Let's put some buzzards. Now, if you've never seen one before, I'm going to show you how to paint a bearded chuff. You do one side, leave a gap, and do another side. Rotate your board like a swan flying. Now I am literally using the tip of the brush here. And then I'm just going to come to the base of these trees and just have a little bit of a fiddle path around. Just to make sure it's nice and dark down there. Lovely. And there's one little last thing I want to do here, folks, and that is to look at this hillside. It's quite bland. I'm just going to wipe off the colour, squeeze the bristles, and just lightly add a bit more texture to this. But it's important that you follow the shape, the hillside. And if you do that spiky brush dry effect, you can make the footpath look as though it's frosty. This is how you do it. You can reflect by adding these downward lines. You can reflect the trees. Have a look at the trees. So it could either be a frosty lake or a frozen footpath. But look how nice that is. Isn't that beautiful? That little reflection, just here, look in the foreground. This is the technique to practice, folks, this. These little downward scratches. Very subtle, but really effective. And it makes such a difference in your watercolour painting. Now I've rushed that, and it's been about 34 minutes of painting time. But it's made a nice little picture with that lovely foreground. Let's just come back on the camera here and take a look at the whole scene. Let's get that into a good position. We'll come right back here so you can see it all. Beautiful. And then what we've got here is a bevel mount, which we'll pop on because that always looks nice. And yeah, roughly 30 minutes of watercolour painting there, folks, was done to produce that picture. It's a simple watercolour. The secret to this picture is to make sure you have a strong, deep purple at the top, which fills that area, and then that nice dark in the corner, and it almost makes a vignette, or some people call it a vinaigrette. But that's made a lovely picture. I want to sign it as well. Stick the moniker. Now that is literally a 30 minutes-ish watercolour workshop using 3 colours. Again, all we did, very simply, was use some natural blue. You could have used French ultramarine. Natural yellow light. You could use cadmium yellow. Or you could use lemon yellow. Aureolin's another one. Gamboge. Natural red. Rose madder. Or something similar. Alizarin crimson. And the brushes I used was a large super point, a medium super point, a small super point, or 3 brushes, a 20, a 10 and a 6. And that is all the materials that you need to take part in the virtual watercolour workshop that's taking place. You can see it at the top of the screen here, flashing. Click on the link. Takes you to the one that's happening at the time of you viewing. In this particular case, it's paint a majestic heron perched amongst bulrushes by a beautiful river. Add to basket, it's only a tenner, folks. And you can watch live, or you can watch it anytime. Because once you've bought it, it's yours to keep forever. Yes, you can keep it forever and a day, folks. That's the really good thing about this. You don't have to be there in person because we all lead very busy lives. But do think about booking on, folks. I'd love to see you on Sunday, Sunday the 9th. That was a quick painting. I'd love to see your paintings as well. I have a Facebook group called Matthew Palmer's Watercolour Group. Link in the description below if you want to get straight to it. You can join the group for free. Just request to join. Also, this painting that I've just done will be on my personal Facebook page, which is Matthew Palmer Artist. Just do a quick search online for Matthew Palmer Artist and you will see the picture. And I'd love to see your paintings that you've done of this wonderful wintry scene in the comments. Yes, I'll pop that on very soon, folks. It'll take me a few moments if you are watching me live. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that, folks. Thank you for the super chat donations. Thank you for watching. Again, subscribe, notification bell, ka-ching. Does make a difference. It really does. It goes a long way. 75,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, folks. Have a go. 3 colours, 3 brushes. It's all about getting the paint flowing. If it didn't work first time, never give up, because it is a simple little exercise. And you can take bits from that picture. It's not got to be the whole scene. You could just practice the sky and the trees. You could just do the foreground. It doesn't have to be all of it. And remember, we're just using red, yellow and blue. 3 brushes and a bit of water. And you've smashed it. Thanks for watching, folks. I really do appreciate that. And I will see you very, very soon for more watercolour painting. Take care. And keep the paint flowing. See you in a bit.